up, kids? This is Kim here. I made this video yesterday for y'all about finding a job, which you should definitely watch. You're actually watching it right now, so you're doing what you're supposed to. Bang, good job. Anyways, I made this video, but I didn't think to myself how to start it off correctly, or I didn't think to give you this advice, so I'm giving it to you right now, which is to go and get a piece of paper and a writing utensil and write down some notes of some good stuff that you learned through this video, and also just write down on that same sheet of paper your goals based on the video that you are watching, which is this video right now. I'm being redundant. Who cares? It don't matter. Anyway, start writing down goals because there's a thing, you are going to have certain things that you need to do based on this video in order to actually make this worth your while and actually do something for your life. So that's it. Get something to write with, and we are about to take off in 3, 2, 1. What's up, my beautiful peoples? Mr. Kim here. Kim Young Kim, however you know me. I am calling, or I'm not calling. What am I doing? I'm making mistakes already. Whatever. Anyways, I am shouting out to you guys because I want to congratulate y'all in advance. Those of you guys who are graduating, 5 short weeks, you'll be graduating. Congrats. And for those of you who aren't graduating, it's all good. This still applies to your life. So I made a video about how to get a job. You probably saw it, or you probably didn't see it. Whatever. You probably did or did not see it. Anyways, that's not the point. The point is, if you didn't watch the video, it's on my Facebook feed. You need to watch it. It's good stuff. Well, this is kind of part 2 of finding a job. So I'm going to do this all in one take because guess what? I don't have a lot of time, but I do want to share this information with you. So I'm going to start with saying this. Where do you go in the United States to drill for oil? Where do you go to drill for oil? Now, if your thoughts brought you to certain states like North Dakota, Texas, Alaska, boom. Those are good places to drill for oil. There are certain places in the country that aren't as good to drill for oil, like Rhode Island or Nantucket, right? So the reason why I bring that up is there are certain places that are better places to look for jobs than others. And the way that works out is, guess what? Places that are more affluent, you know, that people have a lot more money, are better places to go look for jobs. And the reason why is all those people that live in that neighborhood don't work at places like Save Right and Kroger, or not Kroger, Ralph's. Y'all got Ralph's out there. It's crazy. It's the same company. Look it up. But anyways, they don't work at those kind of places, right, because they have professional jobs. But if you go to less affluent areas, regular adults work at those places like Ralph's, Del Taco, so on and so forth, right? So you want to go to places where there is less competition for jobs, and that is in more affluent areas. Now that may not be something you want to hear, but that's just reality, right? So I'm just being real with you. Now, you may need to take a bus. You may need to take 2 buses in order to get to where you're working, and you know, sometimes you got to make sacrifices. So that's reality. I knew a teacher back in the day. He would take 2 buses to get to the college where he was going to school at. So 2 hours one way, 2 hours coming home, and that's what he did 3 times a week because he wanted a better life for himself. So sometimes you gotta make sacrifices. Also, I said this in the previous video, go back and watch it if you haven't. You gotta differentiate yourself. So, what do you do to differentiate yourself? You get a resume together. Guess what? Not all teenagers have resumes. That makes you different from the competition. So, you got things that you put on your resume, like awards that you won at school, or your GPA, as long as it's like over like a 3.0. Don't put like a 1.5 if you got one of those. Just keep that secret. Anyways, your GPA, your activities that you've done in school, anything on your resume that makes you look good, right? So, boom, get a resume together. If you don't know how to do that, just look online. There's plenty of resources. Also, be prepared. Be prepared to interview, right? The reason why people are so nervous when they go on job interviews is because they are unprepared. The great Arthur Ashe, tennis player, said this. He said, one important key to success is self-confidence. An important key to self-confidence is preparation. You got to prepare for the job interview. You got to be ready to interview on the spot when you go turn in your application. That's being prepared. Also, when you go on job interviews, it's very important to tell stories. Stories are things that you share with your future employer or potential employer that prove to them who you are and what you can do. So for example, hey, there was this one time back when I was in sophomore year of high school, and my partner got sick, and we're supposed to do this big project together, but he got sick, and so I did it all by myself, and I stayed up till 4 in the morning in order to get it done. But guess what? I made that sacrifice in order to get the grade that I wanted, right? So being able to tell stories to show how you are a great candidate for the job. Motivational speakers tell stories, and they get paid really well, and that's what they do. A key element to it is stories. They say stories. Those who tell good stories rule the world, and there's truth to that. So anyways, back to what I was saying. Be prepared. So being prepared means dress appropriately. Put on a nice Oxford shirt. Put on some slacks. Wear some nice dress shoes when you go and turn in your resume, or when you go and put in your application. That makes you different from everybody else. And you're dressing appropriately. Gentlemen, pull your pants up, right? Just do it. Just do it one day, 2 days, whatever, right? So dress appropriately. Get yourself together. Get your social media together. Some of you guys have your social media, and someone can just Google your name or look you up on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, High Five, whatever it is you're on nowadays. I don't even know. Snapchat, Rapchat. Anyways, get your social media cleaned up. So if you go by your actual name on social media, make your account private. Or at least what you need to do is make it so that you don't look bad. You know, you got pictures of yourself with your homeboys, mud wrestling. Who does that? I don't even know. Anyways, forget I said that. Just get your social media together. Mud wrestling. Anyways, be prepared. So that's what I'm talking about. All right, when you get to a job interview, when you're waiting at the job interview, do not be on your phone. This is the reason why. Those employers, one of their main concerns is when he's at work or she's at work, what if they are sitting there and they're on their phone all day? I don't like that. No employer likes that, so don't be on your phone while you're waiting. Instead, take a notebook, take a piece of paper, and start writing stuff in there. And if they ask you what you're writing, tell them you're writing your goals for the week or your goals for the month. And actually be writing your goals for the week or for the month. That's what you need to do in order to make the dream work. You got to work hard and prepare and write goals. So, back to this whole idea of where do certain things happen. So I'm going to ask you a question. Where do good people hang out? Where do good people hang out? Like, let's say you're looking for a mentor, which is what I'm about to talk about. Where do good people hang out? What do they do in their spare time? What they do is they go and they volunteer on the weekends. So guess what? If you're looking for a mentor, you need to go and volunteer on the weekends too, so you can expose yourself to these people and you can get to know them, and then they can perhaps be your mentor, right? So when you go and you mentor, when you go and look for a mentor, mentors are very important. I've had some mentors in my life, really, really helpful, and I strongly recommend it. Make sure with mentors that you make it organic. And what do I mean by that? Basically what I mean is this. When you go on a first date, do you ask the girl to marry you on the first date? No, of course you don't. It's crazy talk, right? So don't ask that person to be your mentor the first time you hang out with them. That's crazy, right? Or don't say, hey, I would like for you to commit to me to help me for a period of time. Or hey, you know what, can I call you dad? No, okay, that's weird. That's just weird, okay? So, just go to events, get to know people, ask them about themselves. People love talking about themselves. I'll explain that later. Ask them for advice, and just get to know them as like an older person who's a friend, which is basically what they are, but also someone who can guide you and help you make good choices in life. And at the end, you just figure out a reason to get their information. So be like, hey, you know what? Can I get your email address in case I have any future questions, or just in case I don't know. Find a reason to get their email address. and people generally don't like to give out their phone number, but they're really easy about giving out their email address. So ask for their email address. Oftentimes people just give you their business card. Boom, there you go. Then you have their email and their phone number. So anyhow, so that's how you engage with mentors. You just keep showing up at the places where they are and just build relationships. Life is all about building relationships. Very important that you understand that. All right, so when it comes to mentorship, or when it comes to anything in life, getting a job, getting a referral, there's so much power in asking and asking. So they say this: the answer is always no if you don't ask. The answer is always no if you don't ask. So recently, I went to a restaurant. I actually was having lunch with this older guy, one of my mentors, and after I had lunch, I thought to myself, I need to ask this manager about his hiring practices and some questions that I have about hiring for my teenage students. And so after I got done with eating, I went up to the manager and I was like, hey, you know what? Your restaurant is awesome. Your staff is great. The food was great. And the reason why I told him that is I wanted to compliment him. People love compliments. People love to hear how much you enjoyed the stuff that they're providing. So I started with compliments, and then I said, hey man, I'm talking to teenagers about getting a job. I was wondering if you could just answer some questions for me. So he gave me his card, I got his email address, I sent him the questions. 5 days later, boom, I got the questions back answered, and I posted them on Facebook. Just go through my feed, you'll see it. Anyways, this is what I want you to understand also. I want you to understand this. You gotta pay to play. What do I mean by that? You gotta pay to play. So basically what I mean is you have to pay either with money, with time, or with effort. Okay? You may not have money, and that's perfectly fine, but you still have time, you still have effort, and those are things that you can give in order to get back, right? Relationships are a two-way street. You help people, they help you. It's not a one-way street. Do not be a taker. People do not like takers. They will cut you out of their life. Done deal, right? So even very kind and generous people will even do that. Nobody likes to be used, basically. You get it, right? Anyhow, so hanging out with my mentor, I had lunch with him that day. The way that I developed a relationship with him is I know where he is. I know where he hangs out. He actually volunteers his time every week. He teaches a bunch of young men, old men, and he's there every week. So I show up to where he's at, right? And also, as I show up there, I talk to him and get to know him just as a person. And then one day I asked him to hang out so I could ask him a bunch of questions about life and just kind of say some of the things that I'm doing. And he said, yeah, sure, absolutely, right? But this is the thing. We hung out, but guess what happened before that? It wasn't just that, I got to know him and we hung out. What happened was I invested in his life, right? How did I invest in his life? Well, the guy runs a nonprofit. He is in charge of a nonprofit, and the nonprofit was having this event, and the event was all about getting money in and also building awareness about the nonprofit. So what I did is I invited like 100 people to his event, and a lot of people showed up from my invitation. And also at the event, I volunteered my time to greet people and make them feel welcome as they came in. And he was really appreciative about that, and he was just kept saying thank you for supporting my nonprofit. And so I didn't give him any money, but I gave him my time, I gave him my effort, and that's what you need to do with your mentors as well. They are there to make your life better, but you are also there to make their lives better. So think about how you can do that, right? So coming back to mentors, I guess that whole point of that whole story was find what's important to them and do things to invest in those things that they find important, right? All right, here we go. All right, so again, that whole principle, find out what's important to them and do the things that will make them happy, goes to managers as well. Like let's say for a manager at a company, manager at Del Taco, or a manager anywhere, right? You need to find out what they consider important, right? And you need to talk about those things in the job interview. And that's why I said go and pick the brain of someone who is a manager so you can find out what is important to them so you can bring up those things in the job interview, right? So, okay, so there's that. This I would not recommend to everybody. I definitely would not. But sometimes you can create your own job. If you're one of those go-getter, very entrepreneurial person, right, then this might be for you. Now, there's the thing. People hate pain. People hate problems, right? They love solutions. They are willing to pay money for solutions. So, throughout your life, right, pretty much everything that you can think of is a solution to a problem, right? Microsoft Word. Microsoft Word is a solution to the really bad software that was there before, right, that helped people to be more efficient in business. Find a point of pain, create a solution, right? So for example, I have a friend who is a person that doesn't make tons of money, but he makes, okay money, but he is a very, very disorganized person. Very, very disorganized. If you go to his house, you go to his room, you'll see just how disorganized he is. So what he did recently is he paid a couple, college girls that he knows and to come over and to fix and organize his house and help him to get organized. Boom. They just made money through solving one of his problems. When you go out, just think about all the problems that are out there in the world and how you can solve those problems. And if you can solve problems, you will make money. So that's just something that maybe even just a seed for me to plant for you to think about later in the future. Anyways, so make a LinkedIn profile. LinkedIn.com, LinkedIn.com is like Facebook because it connects you to people, but it connects you to professionals. And if you start adding adults that you know and getting introduced to other adults that they know, boom, there. You might get a job through all that. Get a professional looking photo and add all the adults that you know. You can add me, add whoever, right? One last thing, and this is something that I just want to share with you. This might not be for everybody as well, but I'm going to go ahead and share it. Networking events. Networking events are basically events where people come together and they get to know each other and they talk about business and just get to know each other in general. And so you can go to networking events. A lot of you guys are 18 years old now, so you can go to networking events, but make sure they allow young people to go to those networking events. Some of them are 21 and up because they're like in bars and stuff. So go to a networking event. Don't take your resume. Do take business cards. So you have to be kind of, a go-getter with this. You need to go make business cards. You can go to vistaprint.com. You can get free business cards. All you have to do is pay for shipping. So go there with business cards and just get to know people. Ask people questions about themselves. People love to talk about themselves. People love to just sit there and brag about themselves and share about themselves. And just ask questions. Get to know them as people, right? And give them that chance to do all that bragging. And also ask them some really cool questions like, what do you like most about your job? Right? And they'll tell you something that they like about their job. If they don't like their job and they're like, I hate my job, I hate my life, just get away from that person. They're negative. Don't want to do that. All right. Ask them how did they get on the path of their career, right? That's another good question because people, again, like to talk about themselves, like to talk about their journey, and then you give them an opportunity to do that and relive all those things, right? Asking them questions like, how did you get to this event? How are you connected to this, right? Find common ground. Common ground could be something as simple as Clippers basketball, right? Right now, the Clippers are about to beat the San Antonio Spurs to upend the previous NBA champs. That's crazy. That's something to talk about when you're in LA. Except I don't think it's going to happen. I think the Spurs are going to win. But anyways, that's not important. So anyways, find common ground. Ask people where they're from. Most people who live in LA are not from LA. So you just be like, hey man, where you from? Not like where you from, son, but like ask them where they're from. Then they can talk to you about like what it's like to live there, and it just creates opportunity to get to know them and just creates conversation. I personally like to make a lot of jokes when I go to networking events. So I just roll up and I'm like, yo man, I thought this was gonna be the Fight Club. I don't know what's going on here, or hey, I thought this was a speed dating event. I don't see a whole lot of speed dating except for those two over there. You know, it's just making jokes, right? Just make jokes, and that nothing you know, breaks the ice like humor, right? So give people compliments. You can give them compliments like, hey, yo, those shoes are the bomb, or hey, you know, I really like your watch, or hey, that's a really cool necklace. Make sure they're wearing a necklace though, because that could get really weird, right? But people love compliments. So it's music to their ears. Boom. Also get to know people's names. People love when people remember their names. They really do. The name or your name is the sweetest sound that you'll ever hear, and when people learn your name, you feel very appreciative about that. And when you go to networking events, most of you guys might not feel comfortable with this, but those of you guys who are willing to step out and do something different and to step out of your comfort zone in order to have something you never had by doing something you've never done. Oftentimes at networking events, let's say you're just by yourself and you just kind of feel uncomfortable. Someone saw a teenager sitting by themselves or hanging by themselves at a networking event. There's going to be somebody that comes up and talks to you. And when that person comes up and talks to you, that person is a good person to know, because that person is a good person. They see somebody, they feel their pain, they see the fact that you're uncomfortable, and they come up and they talk to you to make you feel more comfortable, and they're good people, and they might be someone that you really want to get to know in the future. So that's just a thought. And also go with a friend perhaps. Be completely business, but if you go with a friend, you feel a little less nervous. A lot of people go to parties and networking events with friends because they don't like to go out and talk to new strangers. I personally, if I'm going to a networking event, I'll oftentimes just go alone because I want to talk to everybody there. I want to get to know people and stuff, and that's just me though. So, but you can go with a friend, you can go with an adult that you know. But basically, what I'm trying to get to is you need to go out there and get to know more people, build relationships, and just that's gonna really propel your future. If you understand the power of networking and you understand the power of relationships, the power of giving, not just receiving, but giving, and just all those things. So that's it. That's all I got time for, and I need to go drink some water because I've been talking for too long. And for those of you guys who made it this far, congratulations. You stuck it out. Good. So that's it. I will see you guys soon. Love y'all, and that's it. All right. Peace.